Good morning, everybody. This is Coach Davis on Monday, August the 31st. Hope you all had a great weekend. We are going to dive right in today because we have a whole lot to get to. So we're going to start with health class. You guys are starting a new unit this week on mental and emotional health. I really believe this is one of our most important units on a normal year, but especially under the circumstances we find ourselves in now. Because everybody being at home, we're not getting a whole lot of social interaction like we normally do. And I'm very concerned about the mental well-being of a lot of our students. So the information that we're learning this week is really more critical than ever. Now this week is kind of a two-part project, which is something that we've done before. So make sure that you're keeping up with both items. The first thing is you are going to be making your own slideshow about a specific mental disorder. Okay, now I've got this pulled up here. And all of this is on Google Classroom. There are 7 specific mental disorders listed here. You see those: depression, anxiety, bipolar, eating disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and schizophrenia. And you will select just one of those. And for the one that you select, you are going to create your own Google Slides presentation. And you need 10 slides. And everything, the information you need on each of those slides is listed right there. So you need the name of it, a summary, the history behind it, statistics, signs and symptoms, short-term and long-term effects, risk factors, treatment, local resources, and new research and development. So all of that is listed on that information on Google Classroom, so you just follow along with that. Now, if you'll notice on some of these other projects that we've been doing, I have given you a specific website to get your information from. Now, this week I intentionally did not do that because I want you to be able to decipher what are accurate and reliable sources of information. We live in a world right now where we hear about fake news all the time. And it is your job. You have to be able to determine what are sources of information that are credible, that we can rely on, and would be factual information versus websites that might be receiving funding from specific organizations in order to put specific information on that site, and it might not be as accurate as what we need. So it's really important that you find accurate, reliable sources and that you tell where you get your information from. Okay, you've got to make sure that you cite your sources where you're getting your information. So if you can find websites that end in .gov or .edu, those would be probably your most reliable sources. Some of the .coms and the .orgs you got to be a little more careful of. Sometimes those are not quite as accurate, so you need to be very careful about where you're getting your information from to make sure that everything that you're putting on your slideshow is accurate, and make sure that you provide the source where you're getting your information. Okay, so that's part one, is you are going to be creating your Google Slides presentation about a specific mental disorder. Now, the second part of this, typically we do this on what we call Monster Night, and that is a really big part of what we typically do during the fall semester, and we have awesome projects that come about with this, and I really hate that we're not going to have the opportunity to do that this year. But this is one of my favorite projects that we do, and I'm going to pull it up here. And what you are going to do is whichever mental disorder that you have done your project on, you've done your presentation, your slideshow, you need to be able to come up with a creative way to personify that mental illness, correct, or that mental disorder. So you've got several options here, and these are suggestions. You can write a short story, you can write a song, you can create a comic book, or you can create an artistic illustration with a description. So I'm going to show you some specific examples of that. But again, you have kind of some freedom of creativity in creating this. And last semester, I was really just blown away by some of the projects that my students were able to come up with in regards to this. So I'll show you this here. Okay, and these are all linked on Google Classroom as well. This is a YouTube video about a theory involving Winnie the Pooh and each of the characters representing a specific mental disorder. So I'm not going to play that video for you, but you have the link to be able to check that out because that is personifying different mental disorders. Another one is a story. Okay, this is a short story. And again, I'm not going to read this to you, but if you go to this website and read through this website, this is a short story where the writer is basically personifying. She talks about meeting a new friend, and she goes on and on talking about her friend, and the friend turns out to be anxiety and depression. Okay, so she is personifying anxiety and depression as a personal friend of hers. Now, another one you're probably familiar with, this is a song that came out several years ago by Eminem, The Monster. You've probably heard this song, and you can watch the music video. And once again, the whole song, the music video, is a great personification of a mental disorder. So you got another option there in writing a song or creating a music video. And then the last one right here is just an artistic representation. So if you are an artist, then you can come up with what you would picture, what you would visualize that mental disorder as actually looking like if it existed as an actual, tangible thing. So you can see this artist here, they personified, they drew, they created this illustration of what they felt like anxiety would look like as a monster. And then they, provided a little description about what the anxiety monster does and how it acts. So those are just some examples that I was able to find online. These are not actual presentations from my students, but some great representations of what those should look like. And again, I was just incredibly blown away with some of the creative projects that my students came up with last year. So I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. So remember, 2 parts. You've got to create your slideshow that is informational about a specific mental disorder. And then secondly, you need a creative illustration, a creative personification of whichever mental disorder you choose to research, okay? If that is confusing, please email me. I hope that kind of helps explain it. And those are 2 separate assignments on Google Classroom, so make sure that you get both of those things done. Both of those are due on Friday. Now, Lifetime Sports Class, we are continuing into our 2nd week of our disc golf unit. We went out and played at North Ashboro Park and had a good round there this past Thursday, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again this week, and I hope a couple more of you will show up and give that a shot. Now, you're working on your projects this week, okay? You did your notes and turned in your notes last week. This week you're working on your project, and again, I've got this pulled up here for you. You have 4 different options this week, okay? You can do a comparison and explanation of the different types of discs. Okay, there are a whole bunch of different ones. I think the more research you do into that, you're going to discover a whole new world of disc golfing that you probably didn't realize existed. Secondly, you can do a local disc golf course guide. There are quite a few courses around our area, and several of them host large tournaments. So you can do a course guide for that. You can do a history and overview of the PDGA Tour, of which I have a couple of friends who are actually in a tournament this weekend. So pretty interesting that you can do some research on the professional tour there. Or finally, you can design your own disc golf course, and you can draw that out, sketch it up. An 18-hole course is what you need there. Okay. So again, that project is due Friday for you guys, and on Thursday we will have our off-campus tutoring from 12:30 to 1:30 at North Ashboro Park playing disc golf. I'm going to create a sign-up sheet for that, okay, to make sure that we have enough students to be able to go out and do that. If we're not going to have anybody that's showing up for those tutoring sessions, a lot of folks might end up driving all over creation, and we don't really get the chance to play the way that we need to play at those tutoring sessions. So I'm going to create a sign-up sheet on Google Classroom, and if you are going to show up to those tutoring sessions, I need to know about that ahead of time, okay? Now, finally, for advanced basketball, we are going to do a film breakdown study this week, okay? You all should have access to Hudl. If you don't, then let me know that, and I'll make sure that you get the access that you need. But we are collectively as a team, and this is an individual assignment, but all of us, you're going to go back and watch the Pamlico County game, which was our last game last season, the 2nd round playoffs at Pamlico County, who was one of the top teams in the state all year long. And so, of course, several of you played in that game, whereas others of you did not even ever get to see that game happen. So we're all going to watch that game together on Hudl, and you are going to do a film breakdown for me, okay? Now, I have an example that I'm going to show you, and this is not my actual notes from this game. This is just an example of what I need your notes to look like and what my notes always look like, okay? You need specific times. You can see this at the top. UCA at Pamlico, that's the game. At 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the game, Kristen needed to get wider. At 5 minutes and 25 seconds, Ashara needed to attack hard. Again, these are just examples. These are not specifics from this game, but just to give you an idea of what that looks like, okay? So you'll go through the whole game. I only did 5 of them, just for example purposes, but you need to go through the whole game, write down the time that it occurs, and then whatever your notes are as you go along. Once you've been through the whole game, okay, and that's going to take you some time to get through. This looks like the game film is 1 hour and 3 minutes, so that's going to take you some time to get through and keep notes as you go. Once you finish the whole game film, you need to have 5 key points, 5 key takeaway points that you gather from watching the film. So again, this is just an example, but we needed to do a better job of controlling the pace. We must communicate better defensively. We need to cut down on careless turnovers. Whatever your key points are, your key takeaways after watching this Pamlico County game, what are 5 specific takeaways that you get from watching that game that we could have improved upon, that we could have done better, that would have given us a better opportunity to win that ball game? Maybe for those of you who are freshmen, you're going to get a glimpse into what high-level varsity basketball looks like. This is the second round of the playoffs, and you're going to have some notes, and maybe some of your key points are, wow, I have to get a lot bigger and faster and stronger. The game is a whole lot faster than what I realized it was going to be. I have to really work on my ball handling ability. I'm going to have to really start shooting the ball a lot more. Whatever it is, whatever your key takeaways are from watching that film, I want to know them. Some of those can be team goals, team things that we need to work on collectively. Some of them may be individual goals, individual things that you recognize you're going to have to improve on if you want to play at this level of basketball. So again, if you have any questions throughout the week, reach out to me. I know that this was a pretty lengthy video, but I hope that I have done a good job of explaining everything to you. Hope you all have a great week. Hopefully looking forward to seeing several of you through our tutoring sessions this week, and we'll see you in the morning.